Okay. Letting people join. What's up, everybody? Just letting everybody join. Hope everybody's doing well today. Got multiple platforms going. You can be watching this on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram over here. Got YouTube and Facebook right here. So, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Shift Drink Live. I'm Chef JoJo. I'm executive chef and founder and creator of Extreme Culinary Outfitters. This is a little show we do once a week, on Sundays mostly, and discuss topics on what's going on, like what's happening out there. And it's been definitely interesting over the past couple of weeks. We've had 10 weeks now, I think is what we're going on, to where everybody is, on quarantine or shutdown or whatever you want to call it. Let me pull up my other channels so I can see what you guys are commenting and saying out there. So, I think it's pretty interesting that everything that's taken place is kind of out of our control, and we're just trying to figure it out. We're just trying to manage through it. Some of us are able to have our businesses open. Some of us are being able to do to go. Some of us have our places open where we're just a buddy of mine, Chris, and I've mentioned it every couple of weeks, every week. My man, he bought another food truck just so he can keep that revenue coming in. He is, crushing it right now. I've been really impressed with everybody in our industry really trying to do what they think is going to get them to the next level. They're just trying to survive. If there's anything that we've figured out in our business is that you have to have thick skin. You figure that out right off the bat. And, this is something that's been out of our control. So it's been, and we don't know when we're going to get to reopen. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I skipped on Mother's Day. I didn't do a shift drink. We just spent time with the family. It's been a while since we've been able to do that, just hang out with the family. So I thought that would be, you guys probably understand. We don't get a lot of time like that. So we just, we had a good time. And everybody was, chill, nice weekend. Everything was good. I don't know how much you guys were doing on on Mother's Day. It's not like what Mother's Day usually is, right? I've had Mother's Days where it's 10 or 15,000 premium feed at my old stomping ground, and then went off and started doing other things. So Mother's Day for us was all about family and doing that, and I thought it was I think that's what I needed. Yeah, I can get you Mikey Mike. I can get you a new knife, but we'll do some questions after this is going. Okay. I have a little agenda that I'd like to go through. I was doing some reading, as I constantly am trying to keep up to date with everything that's happening inside our little world, if you will. And some of the restaurants are taking a strong approach to reopening, and I think that's great. But one of the restaurants that just had me really I don't think I would have been able to do it is there's a restaurant in Amsterdam. Let me click on this tab. There's a restaurant that you can go have dinner at that has mannequins at every other table, so the restaurant doesn't look empty. I don't know if I could do that. I think my favorite comment on our Facebook page was as soon as I walk into the restaurant, I'm going to turn around and walk out. I mean, seriously, right? For me, the guy goes, it'd be as bad as just walking into a restaurant full of clowns. He goes, I can't do it. And I was like, you know what? That's probably what that hit me the strongest was yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're doing it for the gram and you want to take a selfie and you want, mannequins behind you to see more of a full restaurant. But when you look at this picture, it is absolutely forgive the ads because, I'm just bootlegging this thing. For you guys on Instagram, if you jump over to Facebook or YouTube, you can see what I'm talking about. Well, this is on people.com, and there's just mannequins at the table. I don't know. Could you guys eat there? I don't think I could at all. Not for me, not today. But another restaurant was in Amsterdam. They were using greenhouses outside to keep everybody protected. So, we're all trying to figure out how and what the new normal is. Last week I talked about, the week before last, like time doesn't mean anything anymore, does it? I was talking about a group called the Black Sheep Restaurant Group in Hong Kong and their SOPs coming back from COVID, and how all you guys should just run and go check it out, because I thought it was absolutely, it was really, really well done. I read it over and over because it talks about the people that really, it talks about the culture and how you're always we've always been underdog. It just struck such a huge chord with me. I thought, man, that's pretty amazing. So, check it out. Black Sheep Restaurant Group. They're doing it right. And, not to leave out anybody, but there's a team, US Foods. That's who we use at my job. And you know what? They do a really good job. I love my rep, Jillian. She's awesome, and how those guys. It's a really, really, really good relationship. But what I really wanted to talk about is that they put out a 23-page document, and if you go to usfoods.com, you can download it. I'll show it to you guys because you don't have to be a member or anything like that. But it was absolutely superbly well done. There is a lot of information in it. It talks about people inside Hong Kong and how they're dealing with it and what they're doing. And, I just think that, wave at some people, I just, what's up, everybody on Instagram? I'm doing a live feed on YouTube and Facebook. So if I don't get a chance to wave at you, I'm waving at you. The cool thing is it goes into depth about like just things that maybe you hadn't thought about. And I thought that, we should talk about this a little bit and share it before we go into my perspective on a couple of things. You can go to, usfoods.com, and they have a reopening blueprint. And you know what? I don't know how many of you guys use US Foods, but they've been really good to me, and they've helped me out like immensely. Here's my thing. I really think it's about relationships when it comes to your vendors. Okay? It's really what they're going to do for you when you're in trouble or you forgot to do something. And as soon as I build that relationship, I'm pretty loyal. And I think that they've been good to me. I've made mistakes where I've run out of pizza and had 3 events back to back, and I was low, and they took care of me and made it happen. And that's what you really, really have to remember is you want to make it happen for your client, just like you want to make it happen for your guest. But let me pull this up for you guys. It just is a very nice document. I need to oh, there it is. There's too many tabs open. Sometimes it's tough being a chef. I'll drag this over so you guys can see it. And right here, restaurant reopening. It breaks it down into 23 great pages. It talks about your logistics of handling the product, what you want to do with it, who and what people are looking at, when they walk in. It references having your parking lots open, the egress and degress out of your restaurant actually being not crowded. There was a lot of stuff that I thought, man, okay, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. And some of you guys are probably already practicing this. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to do, we don't have any events, so we're still working through that. I'm just learning. But this is a great resource, usfoods.com. It's free. You can download it, and they'll share it with you. Talks about signs and restrooms and stuff like that, and how they want to see the timetable in Hong Kong of who cleaned what and how they did it. I think all that stuff is super important, because we're in this new world of trying to be extremely clean all the time, which is interesting, right? Because all of us had great pride in how well we kept our kitchen and how much we scrubbed and did whatever we possibly could to make it happen, right? Like we were proud when we got our A from the health department, or if you pass from the health department. It just depends on your county or where you're at. One of my followers on YouTube, one of the subs, Michelle Jones, she says, I worked Mother's Day and it was crazy busy. Well, that's awesome. Good for you. That's great. There was some people that opened their restaurant in San Clemente and people went crazy. Like not crazy, but he was packed. Said he sold out of everything. So that's really good, right? If you get that opportunity to sell out. But, some people were sending the guy death threats via social media, like, you're going to kill my grandmother. I'm not trying to get political about it. I'm just saying that's some of the stuff that you might have to deal with. It just depends on where you are. I got people in Texas saying some places have opened, some haven't, only about 25%. That's a cheesecake. I was reading an article. They're not going to open until they can open 50% because that's what they think they need to be open. Well, there's a lot. I don't know if Cheesecake Factory is going to put mannequins in the restaurant or not. I can't wait to hear what you guys say about the mannequins in the restaurant. I know it wouldn't be my cup of tea at all. But, I've been doing some thinking, and the last couple of days, for those of you that don't know, I've been running a lot, really trying to focus on the health and keeping that going. And, that's good. It's going well for me. And I did not run yesterday. Okay. I had a lot going on and I was just doing a bunch of stuff around the house and didn't get a chance to run. And I really, I was really kind of bummed. I just all of a sudden just made this decision not to run. And I don't know what hit me that way or why. But yeah, I just didn't. I was like, no, can't. I'm just going to, and I really, give up, I guess is what I was thinking. I don't know. I don't know why I just stopped. I just, didn't feel it. It wasn't totally what I wanted to do. Hold on a second to mute this real quick. Beautiful. I got my Facebook stream up. Hey guys, what's going on from Facebook? What's up, Germany? That's really cool. So I didn't run yesterday, and this morning I got up and I was like, okay, you gotta stick with something. Jeez, you gotta do it. And I started to run, and it was just a brutal first mile. I don't know how many runners are out there, but it was not going as well as I wanted. It was just I wasn't feeling it, and I was running by my house, running up some of the hills that we have near me, and I was coming around this corner, and there was a guy backing his motorcycle out of his driveway. He was just walking it out, and he was just sitting there and he was polishing. It was a gorgeous Harley, and it was all suited up, ready to go for a ride. And I was sitting there, and it was about 30 yards away, and I was just running up to him. And I used to have a bike, and I do miss it. I miss riding it. I just thought it was a little bit irresponsible sometimes when you got to look out for a lot of people. You got to protect yourself when you're riding. I loved the bike. I loved the freedom of it. And I was looking at the guy, and I was like, man, here I am dying running, and this guy's fixing to go out on his bike and be free. And there's such a freeing feeling to riding a motorcycle. And I was like, man, how lucky is this guy, right? I was jealous because easily a $30,000, bike or whatever it was, just decked out, looking great. And as I'm running, I run past him a little bit, and I'm about to go up a very steep incline to go out into the hills. And he swings his head around and he goes, "Man, awesome on you. I can't tell you how bad I wish I could do what you're doing." And I was like, "Whoa, yeah, man, thanks. I wish I was, able to." I think I told him it was the only thing that keeps the demons quiet or whatever. But I was like thinking in my head, man, I was 5 seconds before this, I was feeling like how lucky it is to be you on your motorcycle. Like I was really excited that, I was like, oh man, I remember that feeling on the bike. And, he wanted to be able to run up the hill. And so as that was sinking in, I was feeling that was pretty cool, because I was really down on myself about not running the day before and not doing it. And then I'm struggling in this mile, and he kind of pepped me up because his perspective was like, hey, I wish I could be running, but I can't anymore. And then I come around the hill, and I'm not making this story up. It just happened this way. And I just thought it would be something to share, right? I come around the corner and I'm running, and there's a hiker, and I'm going up the hill. He's crossing. He's going out into a further path. And I cross it and I come down, and now he's walked a good little ways, and I'm coming up on his left, and I'm like, on your left, and he steps over to the side. And as I pass him, he's like, man, I'm impressed that you can run this. That's really awesome. And I was like, yeah, thanks. It took a long time for me able to run this. And he's like, yeah, I used to be able to run it too, but then I got old and out of shape, and I can't anymore. And then I was like thinking to myself, I said, I was like, yeah, I'm lucky. Now I'm running up even steeper hill, and it's a bit more rough. And the guy behind me is like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could still run. And just 10 seconds before that, I'm being like, oh, all down on myself because I haven't done enough. And I have all these goals and aspirations of all this stuff that I want to do, all these people I want to help and see what I can do to change the world, if you will. And here I am being like a victim running, right? Like, oh, it's my fault. And then somebody's on the runs like, I wish I could run like you're running right now. And I wasn't even doing it that well, because here's the favorite part of the story. I forgot to tell Gina this when I came back off the run, because I was so elated that I got just random people saying, oh man, that's so cool that you can run like that. Here I am, I'm dying, I'm coming down the hill, and I'm trying to finish this little lap of it. And this guy comes running up the other side of the hill, and he is crushing it. Like, it's a pretty steep incline, and he has now put me in the position where I'm looking at him going, man, I wish that I could run up that hill as fast as he's doing it. I mean, he's literally crushing it. That's perspective, right? I think sometimes when you're really in it deep and you're trying to do so much, it gets tough, because you have this perspective that you're supposed to be able to do this or that. But what we need to probably do a lot more than what we typically do is we don't need to worry about what we could do or used to do. We just need to do what we can and be okay with that. I think that that's one of the toughest things for me that I've been struggling with on this entire, this now we're going in, tomorrow will be 10 weeks for us and my work. 10 weeks before I've, really fully gone into the kitchen or worked in some capacity like that. And everybody, you have all these posts, you have all these friends, and everybody's talking about how long it's going to be. And, LA County's doing this, Orange County's doing that, and Texas is doing one thing, Florida's doing another, Georgia's doing something. And everybody's trying to figure out what the new normal is going to be. But then there's this underlying current of people who are like, well, what are you doing during the pandemic? What are you doing to make yourself better? How are you making yourself better? And, I was taking this extremely seriously, to get a better recovery time on some of these runs. I stopped drinking. So you'll notice that I'm drinking a club soda right now on a shift drink. And I figured, you know what? We need to change some things. If you want to get better, the only way that you can do that is you got to be uncomfortable. You got to push yourself a little bit. So, I'm not drinking as much, or I haven't had any drinks for a little while now. And I think it's making me feel better. The runs are going better. I'm feeling a little better. I'm definitely not going to quit drinking beer, but I thought it would be a good time to kind of really focus on getting a little bit healthier. Because I don't want to be the guy that says, oh, I remember when I used to run up the hill. That day's coming, but I want to fight that day. So I'm going to focus on what I can do and what I'm capable of, and not overshoot. Because, there's all these people out there like, what are you doing to be better? And I'm thinking, that's cool. I'm doing as much or as best as I can to be better. My whole goal is to be better than I was yesterday. And that's the goal that I want for everybody. Be better than you were yesterday, which kind of leads me into a question that I have with you guys. First, checking in, seeing how everybody's doing. My people in Texas are working. Got some guys on Facebook. See what they got going on. Yeah. And then on Instagram, we can jump over. White Claws are healthy. Yeah. It's not the sugar that I'm worried about, Grody. It's it's the alcohol, because I've been crushing some cookies, Can't give up the Oreos quite yet. Somebody asked about a knife earlier, and I can't scroll through the comments on Instagram and do all this at once, but I'll do the knife thing, and I'll go back into this my main comment, or what I wanted. And that is, as far as knives, it depends on, you can go German, you can go Japanese. Like there's a whole array. How much money do you want to spend? I personally, I think I have a Masahiro 740, and I've had it for 20 plus years. It was given to me by one of my dearest friends, Mr. Gibson, and he and I got them from a knife store in South Florida, and I've had it forever. It's been on every TV spot or every big event I've ever done. And it means a lot to me. I had a Kasumi knife for a long time that got jacked by a supervisor I had. He stole it from me after he quit, because it was it was great. It was a Santoku, like 7-inch. It was great. But those are a couple $100. I also have like a superior knife I got for $30, and that holds a pretty good edge. So you can range. I mean, if you use a knife a lot, I like the feel of a heavier knife in my hand, and I think that the Masahiro gives me a good balance. So that's my tidbit. Maybe we'll do some knife videos. I know that a lot of people kind of have those kind of questions. You guys can hit me up for that. So speaking of advice and what I would do, went on this run. I always have these bright ideas on these runs, and I thought I would share and ask if you would be interested. I've created a group on our Facebook page called R&D Brigade by ECO. And the idea behind this group is to really dive into things that you might want to do or be interested in doing. So let's say you want to work on some new recipes and get a better understanding of food cost. We would do that inside this group. You want to work on your resume. I would help you with that resume and talk to you, and we as a group would take a look at it. I don't want it to be turned into a thing where you post pictures of your food and you ask for advice on the plating. It can turn into that if need be, but I think it needs to be a little bit more real. Let's say that I'll send you an invite, Cheeto, promise you. You have a business idea. A lot of my people that work with me, they'll call me and we'll work through business ideas, and someone will have an idea, and then we'll hash through it. I think that we're better together, and that if we take the time, we can make each other better. And we all have a really good perspective. I think that's one of the craziest things about chefs, right? We all have, like, everybody thinks they make the best stock, or they make the best this or that. And there's so many different ways to actually do something in the kitchen. And one could be better or one could be worse. It just depends on what the final outcome is. And for me, I'm looking for people that have an open mind and that want to get better and that are dedicated to being better than they were the day before. And that's so hard. I think that's the hardest thing that we can do, is be consistent in pushing ourselves to push a little bit harder than yesterday. I mean, for that run today, it was a perfect example. That's why I thought it was such a good tie-in to the R&D Brigade by ECO. You can follow us on Facebook on our Extreme Culinary Outfitters. You can hit me up in a DM on Instagram. You can comment on YouTube, or you can say you want to be invited on the Facebook live feed below. I'll track it down. You can request to be invited to it. I'm making it private because I think there needs to be some sort of process to this, because everybody says, yeah, I'm down, let's do this. And then the first time we have a meeting, and let's say for me, right, I want to run a marathon, and then I want to run a 50K and then an ultra. Well, I mean, I guess a 50K is an ultra, but like I want to get into those heavy miles out there in those woods, like Goggins and Cam Haines and, the 200 milers, 100 milers, Courtney DeWalter and Jay and all these people, Jay Sprinkle. I follow all these. I'm infatuated with long distance running for some reason. When we get on there and maybe it's a room, maybe it's a Zoom meeting, and we're going through something, I don't care if somebody's like, hey, did you run today? And I have to be accountable for if doing it or not. How about you want to open a restaurant and you don't understand theoretical food cost off your menu mix? Maybe we need to hash out the cost of everything that's on your menu, and we need to discuss it as a group. Figure out who's getting you the best prices, and then really dive into making sure that you're consistently serving good food because you have the recipe backbone to build it. And we discuss this based off seats. We can do all this in a smaller knit environment. It's not about hustling product. It's not about that. It's about taking care of ourselves and taking this time that we have, whether we like it or not. This is the new reality that we're going to be faced with. Maybe it's a group where like Scotto's on here. He says he's down. And Scotto was talking with us, and Scott Rosales was talking with us 3 weeks ago, and saying all the things that he's doing inside his restaurant to take care of his team. It's just a smaller group of people that want to have a personal relationship that knows that they're going to be held accountable and they can get truthful, honest information. If that's something you're down with, I love it. You can hit us up on Facebook and request to join. Say you saw it on this video, or you want to be a part of it, and I'll let you in, and then I'll start to have, I guess weekly classes or whatever we want to call it. But it's called R&D Brigade by ECO. I'm always trying to find different ways for us to give back to each other. And one of those things that I say to everybody that I talk to is, if we don't take care of ourselves, who will? We're the service industry. We spend most of our time taking care of others, and we forget about each other and our personal selves and our family and all that stuff. Well, I want this group, R&D Brigade, by ECO, to help change that. And let's start small. Anyway, that's today's shift drink, if you will. It's on our Facebook page, request to be. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for all of you that are watching. You can hit subscribe on Instagram or like so you can get notified when we go live. And I really just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to everybody in all of the communities that always have supported us since the beginning. So I really, really appreciate that. So now if you guys have any questions or comments, I would love to take a few if you have the time. So I talked about the knife. Chef Tiny in Wisconsin says he's open. It's fun to go out and sit down and eat again. That's good for you guys in Wisconsin. That's really nice. Yeah, and about the knife, you guys you might want to try to hold the knife. So go to what's going on, Chef Chunk? try to hold the knife. Go to a knife showroom. There's a good one down in San Diego. Just Google it. And you really when I put the Masahiro, when I put that knife in my hand, it feels like it's been there forever. And I think that's the most important thing. It always felt that way. The first time I picked up my Masahiro, I was like, boom, this is the knife that I am going to carry forever. And it really is, it's an exquisite piece of equipment. It's very, very well made. What's going on, Eric? How you doing? Any questions on Instagram or Facebook before we do this? Good to see Michelle, Joey. Joey's in on our group, and he is a culinary instructor, educator. So it'd be great to have that, just that insight. So for those that just jumping on, we're starting a group called R&D Brigade by ECO. You can hit me up. You can request an invite. It's going to be on our Facebook page because that's where most of our fans are. And it's just a group that is going to push each other to do more than they did yesterday on everything that they're setting out to do. And that could be costing out your menu, building your resume, or a personal goal. You want to run a marathon. You want to lose weight. We'll just do that. And then I'll leave it with Chef Chito Aurelio. He says, Element Knife Company is a good place to get your equipment. A chef from Denver. And he could talk about knives. Perfect. Thanks, Chito. Chito and I have done some really crazy events together. Managed through as much as possible. Some really dicey situations. All right, guys. Listen, I've had a blast today. I really appreciate you guys jumping on. And we'll catch up next time. As always, cheers.